Hello again, and welcome to Purpose of Heart, the podcast. I'm your host, Priscilla Allman, and today we're going to talk about something that everybody's probably been through at some point in time in their lives, the waiting season. You know, that time between the promise and fulfillment, when it feels like heaven's gone quiet, when you're praying, sowing, serving, and still wondering, Lord, when is it my turn? If that's where you are, I want you to know this. Waiting is not wasted time. God's timing may feel slow, but every delay is deliberate. I remember, seasons in my own life where it felt like everything came to a standstill. I had, deep desires to move forward on certain things. And it felt like doors were completely shut. And not just doors, but like windows, mail slots, like everything was closed. And opportunities that, I prayed for seemed to bypass me completely. And, there were times where every single step forward seemed to be met with resistance. And these are not things that I'm talking about where I hadn't prayed about them or, just was sort of doing my own thing. These are things that I had prayed for as well. And, there are some times where I'd be like, am I, reassessing, and just like checking in with God, like, am I going in the right direction? Like, am I supposed to be doing this? Am I supposed to even be wanting this or having this desire? And there were definitely times where even in those seasons, like he would also allow people to show up in my life or allow me to read things from his word, or even just like going to, my church and different things like that, and like get a word that was like, yes, this is, you're still on the right path type of thing. And there was also just a time where he kind of was just like, I have to grow roots in you before you can get branches. And it helped to change things and put, things in perspective for me, because I realized, after I'm now into different things, that if I'd gotten or been in some of the opportunities or situations that I had wanted to be in years ago, it would have crushed me. I was, asking for fruit for different things before I had depth and the real endurance that would keep me through and enable me to steward what I was asking for well. And I also learned that sometimes what looks like delay is actually God, working beneath the surface. In seasons of waiting, I've realized in my own life that he was building in me endurance, character, humility, and a dependence on him that success could never give me. And I don't know who this is for, but maybe that's what God is doing in your life right now. Maybe he's protecting you from elevation that your roots cannot sustain right now. So Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1 says, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." You know what that means? Even though it may feel like it, because trust me, I've been there. You're not necessarily behind. You're not late. You're right on time for your timeline under heaven. Every purpose, every calling, every dream has an appointed season. We can look at characters from the Bible like Joseph. He was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and then forgotten in prison. I mean, they really did him dirty. But in God's timing, in one night, he went from, being a prisoner, and then he woke up second to command in Egypt. Or David, he was anointed king, but he ended and went back to go tend sheep. Waiting taught him how to worship in obscurity before leading in visibility. And then Isaiah 40:31 says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." Notice that it doesn't say those who rush ahead on their own, in their own strength, but those who wait on the Lord. Waiting isn't weakness, it's warfare. It's declaration that says, God, I trust your pace more than my pressure. When we wait with God and not just for God, we exchange our exhaustion for his endurance. I want to share just like a few stories that sort of really touched me from our community. First, there's one from Danielle who wrote in and said she spent over 3 years searching for the right job after being laid off. She said, I kept trying to force doors open that weren't meant for me. Every no felt personal until I realized God was protecting my peace. The job I have now fits my gifts and values perfectly. It was worth the wait. And then there's Marcus, who spent nearly a decade praying for restoration with his father. He said, the moment I stopped trying to control the outcome and focused on healing my own heart, God softened both of us. Now we talk every week, something I never thought possible. And Elena shared this. I thought my waiting was wasted time, but now I see it was sacred time. God was pruning, shaping, and showing me who I really was. Every one of these stories carries a pattern. God was moving, even when it looked like absolutely nothing was happening. The waiting was working. So if you're listening to me and you feel overlooked, hear this. You're not necessarily being ignored. You're being prepared. Now, I know it's hard because sometimes you could just be going through it, right? And I've been there. I've been through it. I've been under it. I've been on top of it. I've been around it. I've been, rolled down a hill, thought I was at the bottom, but I wasn't. Rolled down some more and then got hit by a bus. And a lot of times it was like, oh, can this, season, whatever it is, just be over or be different? But some things that help are actually a perspective change. And I asked myself these questions, and I'm going to pose them to you as well. 1, what lessons might I be missing in this season? And how can I stay active in purpose while I wait? Because waiting and going through things doesn't mean doing nothing. Waiting means doing the last thing God told you to do faithfully. Maybe that's showing up to your studies with excellence. Maybe it's being fully present with your family, or maybe it's just saying yes to a smaller assignment that feels hidden. David didn't stop shepherding after he was anointed king. He went right back to the pasture. And it was in that pasture that he learned skills and humility that would later help him to slay Goliath. So don't despise the pasture. Don't despise your small beginnings, and don't despise the wait. That's where your preparation happens. So while you wait, worship. While you wait, serve. And while you wait, stay faithful in the small things. Because how you steward this season determines how you'll be ready for the next one. If this episode encouraged you, Share it with someone else who's in their waiting season. You never know who might need a reminder and some encouragement today. Remember, waiting isn't the end, it's the in between, where God prepares you for what's next. Keep walking, keep trusting, and keep living with purpose of heart. Until next time, I'm Priscilla Allman, and thank you for listening to Purpose of Heart, the podcast. See you.